Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Terrakion. So Terrakion going to be the second for the legendary trio of Justice, and it's going to be pretty solid as well when it comes to being a pure offensive boss. So we are going to have 129 on the attack, and we're pretty much in the same thing as Cobalion with that speed. 108 speed. We're outspeeding quite a bit. We're outspeeding actually quite a lot. But we're not going to get into this insane, untouchable kind of sleeper realm, but we are going to outspeed the Pokemon that count. Those 100 base speed Pokemon, like Mega Kangaskhan, and some 105 base speed Pokemon, just the random ones that aren't quite 110, but can still pack a punch. So you're there to be like an anti-sweeper for those mid-range sweeping Pokemon. The rest of the stats are also really good. 91 hit points, 90s on defenses. It's going to be pretty difficult to knock us out neutrally. Only some of the most powerful stat-boosted stats will be able to do that. And when it comes to our typing though, neutral might not matter as much. Rock, fighting typing, oh boy, that's a lot of weaknesses. So fighting, ground, steel, water, grass, psychic, and fairy. Now that is going to be kind of difficult for us, but as long as we are mowing down everything in our way along the way, it doesn't matter if we are enduring super effective hits because we won't have to worry about seeing them. Rock does also give us a couple resistances with that fighting. Normal, poison, rock, bug, fire, and dark on those resistances, but dang, that's a lot of weaknesses. Alright, time to go and hop into Pokemon Showdown. Alright, so I'm going to lead with the moveset on everybody's minds. Everyone wants to see the Beat Up Terrakion strategy for doubles, so might as well start with it. Didn't do it with Cobalion. I feel Terrakion is much stronger with it, so let's go and see what it's all about. Terrakion, with a Pokemon that has Beat Up, pretty much writes itself from this point. If you guys aren't super familiar with it, what happens is Beat Up does damage for each healthy Pokemon that you have, ergo a Pokemon that isn't fainted, and it's also a dark type move. Terrakion gets justified. So you're going to get one stage for each hit for each Pokemon, and since you're doing this early on in the battle, that's 4 hits, that's 3 times your attack in VGC, or if you play doubles 6v6, it's a real format, you can go and play that for yourself if you want to, even more damage on the Terrakion, and that's pretty much all there is to it, that you get absurd amounts of stats, and you just play through with that. Now there are some options that you have here. Protect, really solid in doubles, and it's just going to be pretty safe, but at the same time, can also run Quick Guard. Now Quick Guard adds an extra layer to this because with Quick Guard, it means that you're going to be able to stop Fake Out, which stops your Tailwind. I think Whimsicott is the best Pokemon for this because you set up Tailwind while Terrakion protects, and then you beat up under that speed priority, and then Terrakion outspeeds everything and just destroys it. Now you can run this with the Life Orb if you want to play it super safe, or with the Quick Guard, that means you also have that chance of stopping a Fake Out. But at the same time, I have these specific sets, so Quick Guard, it's an option, and it keeps you safe from that fake out, but it's not absolutely necessary, even though people will mention it. There are a lot of scary things, because it's not just fake out. That a Talonflame Brave Bird, well, you can keep your Whimsicott from getting destroyed, and that's always pretty nice that you won't have to worry about that, because it does take some kind of setup. So there are some weaknesses to the strategy if it just gets outpaced, countered in a way. Like, it's kind of hard to directly counter it, but it's pretty much the weird things that just kind of slow it down that end up being very bad for the strategy. So that's why we just have a Mental Herb here for if you don't want to get taunted, so you can still set up the Tailwind. We also can put a Focus Sash here. That way on that first turn, we're getting that move off, and we really only have to worry about the Talonflame unless we're running the Quick Guard. But if we're running Quick Guard, that means we can still eat a hit, and that can be bad for Terrakion. That's why I like this hit point investment. So with the hit point investment, that means we're going to be able to survive a Garchomp's Earthquake. It's Adamant Scarf Garchomp. We get to survive it after a Whimsicott beat up with this hit point and defensive investment. So we're going to be able to take a good amount of hits, which does give us that little bit of wiggle room. But if we're running the Quick Guard with this, we're not going to be able to outspeed a lot of Pokemon. So if there's a super fast Quick Guard Pokemon, since they have the same priority, we're not going to be able to do too much to them. So that can be a bit of an issue. Let's go and take a Pokemon like Kangaskhan really quick. So regular Kangaskhan's going to have that 90 base speed, and see, it's going to be at 279. So even regular Kangaskhan can outfake us out before it Mega Evolves. Those are things to consider. If you want to outspeed it, remember, you're giving up that kind of extra tankiness to keep you alive, but you will have a more reliable Quick Guard. If not, you can run both, but then that's giving up coverage, and that's kind of a tough thing to do. So with the Close Combat's going to absolutely obliterate everything, but the Rock Slide and Earthquake, you kind of need these to complement each other, because they have a lot of Steel or Rock type Pokemon, you can throw out the Earthquake, hit them both. They have Flying type Pokemon, the Rock Slide also gets Stab. So with Close Combat, we can get rid of that for Protect, and now we're playing all the options. If they lead with a Fake Out that you can stop, yes, you can use the Quick Guard. If they don't have Fake Out, you Protect, you play it safe, Whimsicott gets that free turn. That's where the Focus Sash could work, but you might have to worry about them taunting. If they have Taunt, then you might need to bring your own Taunt, which gets even crazier. Whimsicott also has Helping Hand, so you can be like full-on support, you know? shut him down, use that helping hand, 50% more damage on top of the ×3, on top of the Life Orb, stab, Adamant Nature, a Terrakion with 129 attack. The stats are incredible. The amount of damage is almost impossible to stop from this thing. And that's why I like the Earthquake and Rock Slide, because you get a lot of coverage with that, even though you are giving up a stab. But if you don't want to do that, Whimsicott can run damage. You can run with the Timid Nature, but this time instead you just max out special attack, a little bit Moonblast, a little bit potentially Giga Drain, however you want to run it. Can probably work out just fine. So there's a lot of little different things you can do depending on what the rest of your team needs and what specifically you have problems with. This strategy isn't going to be perfect against everything, but there are different things that effectively make it perfect against everything depending on which one you're running. So that's pretty much how it breaks down. Also, the weird thing about Rock Slide, 75 base power. Well, that getting stab isn't going to be much more than Earthquake, so don't be worried about the damage when you're going with Helping Hand plus ×3, all sorts of shenanigans. You can still throw out an Earthquake, and that neutral Earthquake will be very powerful. Rock Slide is just for more flying type Pokemon, and if whatever one makes more sense. It doesn't really matter from the damage side. Whatever one makes more sense is going to be your best bet. And then there's also a couple other ways of running Terrakion that are just very standard with how sweeper Pokemon work. If we compare it like Garchomp, it's going to have crazy amounts of attack, crazy amounts of attack, good amount of speed, not an incredible amount of speed, so that means we can do all sorts of different things. So let's just go and talk about that now. So you can either run Focus Sash, you can run Choice Scarf, or you can run a Life Orb, and very, very few purists might even go for that Choice Band, depending on the situation. So for Terrakion with Focus Sash, you max out speed, you max out the attack, and then you go with a Jolly Nature. Life Orb, going to be the same thing, max out attack, max out speed, Jolly Nature, but Choice Scarf is the other way around. Go Adamant Nature, max out attack, max out speed. This way you're still getting insane amounts of outspeeds, but you're also capitalizing on your damage. Each has a benefit. This is going to be much faster than this has more damage than that, but this gives you that second turn. So say you get outspeed, you can retaliate with a straight up KO, or if you don't really finish off an opponent. So what if this doesn't score a KO? Well, then that means this would actually be able to have that 2-hit KO opportunity while you're outspeeding anyways. So that's pretty much how sweepers break down. As for your moveset, Close Combat, Stone Edge, Iron Head, and then whatever other move you want to put here. Earthquake can get put here, and it's a really interesting thing to think about. Earthquake, it's going to have that 100 base power, but Stone Edge, it's going to have 100 power, 80% accuracy, but get stabbed. So more damage, slightly less reliable, but then this is always going to be reliable, high amounts of damage right there, and then there's just Close Combat. Pretty much you need to respond with a Close Combat to obliterate everything in your way, but really, what's the point of running Earthquake then? Because between Stone Edge Close Combat, you're hitting fire types, you're going to be hitting pretty much everything. You get steel, you get rock, you get ice, and those are the problems when we have fighting and rock as our stab, and then we're trying to squeeze in an Earthquake. There's so many super effective overlays that you just pretty much have a super effective option for whatever you need to do. High amounts of damage, high amounts of really anything can work out. So coverage, damage, accuracy, whatever you want to do, it's going to work out. Same thing here. You run the same kind of moves, pretty much just looking for what you need your Terrakion to do. Also, depending on what Terrakion wants, it can set up a bit differently. Might run a Citrus Berry, you can have Lumberry on any of these sets. Instead of Focus Sash, Lumberry is a very real possibility. A lot of people like burning the Terrakion. If that burn gets worn off, well then, you get that free turn from that Lumberry just saving you, and then you blow up that opponent Pokemon, so you're still pretty good, but you also get access to Taunt and Stone Edge. This makes you a really powerful lead, so you can run Life Orb with this. So if you're running the Life Orb, you're still having speed. If you outspeed their setup Pokemon, you taunt them. They don't get setup. Now you get Stealth Rocks. So you can actually cancel their setup, get a setup of your own, and if they force a switch, then it's absolutely free. But after that, you just run Close Combat and then Stone Edge, and then it kind of doesn't matter anymore. So this can actually be a very powerful lead Pokemon. So yeah, if this works out right, you get free Stealth Rocks, and then you can also get damage, and you're still threatening super amounts of KO potential. Life Orb Close Combat with this attack means anything in your way is going to get neutrally one-shot if it's an average kind of defensive Pokemon. If it has like 80s in the defenses with 80s on the hit points and it's not invested, that's just going to be KOs right there. So that's the breakdown of Terrakion. Kind of a Pokemon that can do whatever it wants as a generic sweeper. Not going to outspeed and outdamage everything, but still has high amounts of damage, doesn't need to set up, just comes in, and it can also do beat up strategy. As to why I didn't do beat up on Cobalion, Terrakion's just better at it in my opinion. That you're going to have more attack. So yeah, Cobalion only has 90 base attack, so kind of what's the point right there? Rock Slide is going to get stab damage, and it's just that you're going to make it work a little better on your side, while also kind of carrying the same amount of weaknesses. Because if you think about it, Cobalion does have less weaknesses, but you're really going to be worrying about the Heat Wave and the Earthquake more than anything, so Terrakion can come in and deal with that. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.